The envelope sat on Sir Alex Ferguson's desk like a grenade waiting to explode. It had arrived that morning, delivered by courier from Jorge Mendes, Cristiano Ronaldo's agent. Ferguson hadn't opened it yet. He didn't need to. He already knew what it contained. A formal transfer request. Real Madrid's offer? The beginning of the end? It was May 2008, and Manchester United had just conquered Europe. The Champions League trophy gleamed in the cabinet down the hall, won in Moscow against Chelsea in the most dramatic final in years. Cristiano Ronaldo had been magnificent throughout the campaign, scoring crucial goals, dragging the team through impossible moments, establishing himself as the best player in the world. He was 23 years old, at the peak of his powers, and he wanted to leave. Ferguson stood by the window of his Carrington office, watching the spring rain fall across the training pitches. He had known this moment was coming for months. The signs had been there, the lingering glances when Real Madrid was mentioned, the careful non-committal answers in press conferences, the conversations with Mendes that Ronaldo thought were private but weren't. Ferguson had built his career on reading players, understanding what drove them, what they desired, what they feared, and he knew Cristiano Ronaldo better than anyone. The knock on the door came at exactly 3 o'clock. Ronaldo entered, and Ferguson could see immediately that the young Portuguese was prepared for battle. His jaw was set, his eyes determined, his posture defensive. He had rehearsed this conversation, probably with Mendes, probably 100 times. But Ferguson had been having difficult conversations with players since before Ronaldo was born. This wouldn't be a negotiation. It would be something else entirely. "Sit down, Cristiano," Ferguson said, his Scottish accent carrying that familiar edge that made even the bravest players nervous. Ronaldo sat, but his body language remained rigid, ready for conflict. Ferguson picked up the envelope, held it for a moment, then tossed it back on the desk unopened. "I know what's in there. I know what you want. I know Madrid has been in your ear for 2 years now, telling you you're destined to wear the white shirt, that you're the next Galactico, that the Bernabéu is your true home." Ferguson paused, letting the words settle. "So, let me save us both some time. I'm not opening this. I'm not considering their offer. And you're not leaving Manchester United. Not this summer. Not while I'm manager of this club." Ronaldo's carefully prepared speech died in his throat. He had expected anger, perhaps disappointment, maybe even understanding. But this flat refusal, delivered with such absolute certainty, caught him completely off guard. "Boss, you don't understand," he began. But Ferguson cut him off with a gesture. "Don't I?" Ferguson leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. "Let me tell you what I understand, son. I understand that you grew up in Madeira, dreaming of playing for Real Madrid. I understand that Florentino Perez has been whispering promises in your ear, painting pictures of glory and legacy. I understand that you think leaving now, at the top, after winning the Champions League, would be the perfect moment, a triumphant exit, the conquering hero moving on to his destiny." Ronaldo said nothing, but his eyes confirmed everything. Ferguson continued, his voice growing harder. "Here's what you don't understand. You're not ready. Not for Madrid, not for that pressure. You think you are because you've conquered England, because you've won the Champions League, because you're the best player in the world right now. But Madrid isn't about being the best. It's about being perfect, every single match, every single moment. And the second you're not, they'll destroy you. The fans will whistle you. The media will crucify you. The club will look for your replacement. And you'll realize too late that you left the one place where you were truly protected, truly developed, truly loved." The words hit Ronaldo like physical blows, but not because they were harsh, because somewhere deep inside, he suspected they might be true. He thought of the Bernabéu, the legendary white stadium, and tried to imagine those same passionate fans turning on him the way Ferguson described. It seemed impossible, but then again, he'd heard the stories. Casillas whistled, Raúl criticized. Even Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, El Fenomeno himself, had faced the wrath of the Madrid crowd. "Boss, I need to go," Ronaldo said quietly, and for the first time, his voice carried uncertainty. "It's my dream. I've wanted this since I was a child. Real Madrid is where I'm supposed to be." Ferguson stood, walked around the desk, and did something unexpected. He sat in the chair next to Ronaldo, not as a manager addressing a player, but as something closer to a father figure speaking to a son. Let me tell you about dreams, Cristiano. When I was a young manager at Aberdeen, I dreamed of managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. Manchester United came calling, and I thought I'd arrived at my destiny, but the first 3 years were hell. The fans wanted me gone. The board questioned me. I nearly got sacked a dozen times. I survived not because I was at my dream club, but because I was ready for the challenge. Because I'd grown enough to handle the pressure. You haven't grown enough yet. You're still that 19-year-old kid who arrived from Sporting Lisbon with tricks and talent, but no discipline, no maturity, no understanding of what it takes to be truly great. Ronaldo felt anger flare. I'm not that kid anymore. I've proven myself. I've won everything. Ferguson's eyes softened, but his voice remained firm. You've won at Manchester United, where you're surrounded by leaders, where Giggs and Scholes and Ferdinand protect you, where the fans forgive your mistakes because they've watched you grow, where I'm here to guide you, challenge you, keep you grounded. At Madrid, you'll have none of that. You'll be alone, the entire weight of the club on your shoulders. And when, not if, but when you struggle, when you hit that inevitable rough patch, you'll have nobody to catch you, you'll fall and fall hard, and you'll wish you'd stayed. But what if I succeed? Ronaldo challenged, his competitive nature rising. What if I go there and prove I'm ready? What if I become everything they want me to be? Ferguson stood, walked back to his desk, and when he turned around, his expression had changed. There was something in his eyes now that Ronaldo had never seen before. Not anger, not disappointment, but something deeper, something that looked almost like fear. Then I'll have failed you as a manager, because if you succeed at Madrid right now, it won't be because you're ready. It will be because you got lucky, and luck runs out. I've spent 5 years shaping you, teaching you, protecting you from your own worst instincts. I've watched you grow from a selfish showboater into the best player in the world. But the work isn't done. There's more you need to learn, more you need to become. And if you leave now, before you're truly complete, before you're ready for that pressure, one of two things will happen. Either you'll succeed through luck and never reach your full potential, never become the legend you could be, or you'll fail, and the world will break you, and you'll spend the rest of your career wondering what you could have been if you'd just been patient. The rain outside had intensified, hammering against the windows with increasing force. Inside the office, the silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken emotions. Ronaldo felt torn in a way he'd never experienced. Part of him wanted to argue, to insist on his right to pursue his dream. But another part, the part that Ferguson had carefully cultivated over 5 years, whispered that maybe, just maybe, the old Scot was right. How long? Ronaldo finally asked. How long do you want me to stay? Ferguson returned to his chair, and now his expression softened completely. 1 more year? Give me 1 more season. Let me finish what we started. Let me teach you the last lessons you need to learn. Let me prepare you properly for Madrid, because make no mistake, Cristiano, I know you'll go eventually. Madrid is your destiny. I'm not trying to stop that. I'm trying to make sure that when you do go, you're ready. Truly ready. Ready to handle anything they throw at you. Ready to become the legend you're meant to be. Not just another talented player who couldn't handle the pressure. Ronaldo wanted to say yes. Wanted to trust Ferguson, as he had so many times before. But the pull of Madrid was overwhelming, a siren song that had been growing louder for months. And there was something else, something he was almost ashamed to admit even to himself. He was afraid that if he stayed, if he delayed this dream, it might slip away. Madrid might move on to someone else. The perfect moment might pass. The opportunity might never come again. What if Madrid doesn't wait? What if they buy someone else? Ferguson's response was immediate and certain. If Madrid really wants you, they'll wait. And if they don't, then they never truly valued you, and you're better off here. But we both know they'll wait. Because you're not just good, Cristiano. You're exceptional. And exceptional players don't come along every day. The words should have reassured him, but instead, they highlighted the central conflict tearing Ronaldo apart. He was exceptional. He knew it. The world knew it. And exceptional players didn't wait. They seized opportunities. They took risks. They chased dreams when the moment presented itself. I need to think, Ronaldo said, standing. This is too big a decision to make right now. Ferguson nodded, but as Ronaldo reached the door, the manager spoke one last time, and his words carried a weight that made Ronaldo stop cold. Cristiano, before you go, I need you to understand something. If you insist on leaving this summer, if you force this transfer, I won't stand in your way. I'll let you go. But our relationship, this thing we've built over 5 years, it will never be the same, because you'll have shown me that you don't trust my judgment. All the guidance, all the development, all the care I've invested in you means less than chasing a dream before you're ready. And I'll know that I failed to teach you the most important lesson of all, that patience and preparation matter more than immediate gratification. The words hung in the air like a curse. Ronaldo turned back, seeing the genuine hurt in Ferguson's eyes, and felt something crack inside his chest. This wasn't a negotiating tactic. This was real. Ferguson wasn't just trying to keep a valuable player. He was trying to protect someone he cared about. And the realization that pushing for this transfer would damage that relationship, perhaps irreparably, made Ronaldo feel sick. "Boss, he started, but couldn't find the words. "Think about it," Ferguson said softly. "Take all the time you need. But when you make your decision, make sure it's one you can live with, because you'll have to live with it for the rest of your life." Ronaldo left the office in a daze, barely aware of the rain that soaked him as he walked to his car. He sat behind the wheel for nearly an hour, not starting the engine, just staring at nothing, feeling the weight of the decision crushing down on him. That night, he called Jorge Mendes and told him to delay any response to Madrid. He needed time. The weeks that followed were torture. Ronaldo trained mechanically, played adequately but not brilliantly, and avoided Ferguson as much as possible. The manager gave him space, but Ronaldo could feel those watchful eyes during every training session, every team meeting. The other players sensed something was wrong, but didn't know what. The media speculated, wildly, and through it all, Ronaldo wrestled with the impossible choice. Stay and risk losing Madrid forever. Go and risk losing Ferguson's respect and potentially his own future. Every option felt like a betrayal. Every path forward seemed to lead to regret. It was Rio Ferdinand who finally broke through Ronaldo's isolation. The captain cornered him after training one day and didn't ask what was wrong. Instead, he told a story. "When I was at Leeds, I had a chance to go to Chelsea. Big money, London, closer to home. I wanted it badly. But my manager at the time told me I wasn't ready, that I needed more development. I was furious. I thought he was holding me back. But I stayed one more year, and you know what? He was right. That extra year made all the difference. When I finally did move, to United instead of Chelsea, I was ready for it. Ready for the pressure, the expectations, the responsibility. And I've never regretted waiting." Ferdinand paused, then looked directly at Ronaldo. "Ferguson sees something in you that you don't see yet. Something you still need to develop. Trust him. He's never steered you wrong before." The words didn't make the decision easier, but they shifted something in Ronaldo's perspective. He began to reflect on his 5 years at United. Really reflect on how much he'd grown. He'd arrived as a skinny teenager who could barely bench press the bar, who cried when tackled hard, who tried 50 tricks and lost the ball 49 times. Ferguson had transformed him into a machine, physically powerful, mentally tough, tactically intelligent. But was the transformation complete? Was there really more to learn? 3 weeks after that first confrontation, Ronaldo returned to Ferguson's office. This time, there was no envelope, no formal request, just 2 men who needed to finish a conversation. Ferguson looked up from his desk, and Ronaldo saw the tension in his shoulders, the worry in his eyes. The manager had been carrying this burden too. "I've made my decision," Ronaldo said, and Ferguson braced himself for the answer. "I'll stay. 1 more year. But I need you to promise me something." "Anything," Ferguson said, and the relief in his voice was palpable. "Promise me that when the time comes next summer, you'll let me go without a fight. Promise me you won't make it difficult. Promise me you'll prepare me for Madrid the way you say I need to be prepared." Ferguson stood, extended his hand, and they shook on it. It was more than an agreement between manager and player. It was a pact between mentor and student, between father figure and son. "You have my word," Ferguson said. "This season, I'm going to push you harder than I ever have. I'm going to challenge you in ways that will make you want to quit. But when it's done, when next summer comes, you'll be ready for anything, and I'll let you go with my blessing." The 2008-09 season was exactly as Ferguson promised. Brutal, unrelenting, impossible. He pushed Ronaldo in every training, Session criticized him after every match, demanded perfection in every aspect of his game. In private moments, Ronaldo wondered if this was punishment for almost leaving, if Ferguson was making him suffer for even considering Madrid. But slowly, he began to understand. This wasn't punishment. This was preparation. Ferguson taught him how to handle constant pressure, how to perform when exhausted, how to lead when everyone else was struggling, how to maintain standards when the team around him faltered. He taught him mental resilience, how to block out criticism, how to stay focused when the world was screaming for his attention. He taught him professionalism, showing him how the truly great players prepared, recovered, maintained their bodies, managed their energy over a long season. And through it all, their relationship deepened. The arguments were more intense, but so were the moments of understanding. Ferguson wasn't just preparing Ronaldo for Madrid. He was preparing him for life as the world's best player, for the decade of scrutiny and pressure and expectation that lay ahead. Every harsh word, every impossible demand, every moment of criticism was a lesson disguised as hardship. By the spring of 2009, Ronaldo had scored an astonishing 42 goals in all competitions. United was challenging for every trophy, and more importantly, Ronaldo felt different, stronger, more complete, more ready. When Madrid came calling again, as everyone knew they would, Ronaldo didn't feel conflicted. He felt prepared. The final conversation in Ferguson's office was nothing like the first. There was no anger, no pleading, no emotional manipulation. Ferguson simply asked if Ronaldo was ready, and when the answer came, a confident yes, the manager smiled. Then go, son. Go to Madrid and show them what Manchester United taught you. Show them what we built together. And when it gets hard, because it will get hard, remember everything we've been through. Remember that you're ready for this because you were patient enough to wait, because you trusted me when you didn't want to. Ronaldo felt tears streaming down his face, not caring about hiding them anymore. Thank you, boss, for everything, for believing in me, for pushing me, for not letting me leave before I was ready. Ferguson came around the desk and embraced him, something he rarely did, and spoke words that Ronaldo would carry with him forever. You're going to become the greatest player of your generation, not because of talent, though God knows you have plenty of that, but because you learned patience, because you learned to trust, because you learned that sometimes the hardest thing to do is wait for the right moment instead of chasing every opportunity. Madrid is getting the complete package now, not the unfinished project they wanted last year. Make me proud, Cristiano. Show the world what you're capable of. When Ronaldo left Manchester United in the summer of 2009, he did so with Ferguson's blessing, and with a foundation that would sustain him through the next decade. The transition to Madrid was still difficult, just as Ferguson had predicted. The pressure was immense, the expectations impossible, the scrutiny unrelenting. But Ronaldo was ready. When the fans whistled him after a poor performance, he didn't crumble. When the media questioned his worth, he didn't lash out. When teammates doubted him, he led by example. All the lessons Ferguson had taught him, all the preparation from that brutal final season, paid dividends. Years later, after countless trophies and records and achievements, Ronaldo would reflect on that moment when he'd almost forced a transfer a year too early. He'd think about how different his career might have been if Ferguson had let him go, if he'd arrived at Madrid unprepared, if he'd faced that pressure without the final year of development. And he'd realized that Ferguson's refusal, what had seemed at the time like an obstacle to his dreams, had actually been the greatest gift his mentor ever gave him. The envelope had never been opened. Ferguson had thrown it away after Ronaldo left the office that first day. But the conversation it prompted, the confrontation it forced, the decision it required, those things shaped Ronaldo's destiny more than any contract ever could. Ferguson hadn't stopped him from chasing his dream. He'd simply insisted that Ronaldo be ready to achieve it. And in doing so, he'd ensured that when Cristiano Ronaldo finally wore the white shirt of Real Madrid, he didn't just survive the pressure, he conquered it. He became exactly what Ferguson always believed he could be. Not just a great player, but a legend. Not just talented, but complete. Not just ready for Madrid, but ready for immortality.